Welcome to the Texas Patriot channel. Today we're going to be looking at growing wheat fodder. There's a lot of things that the Texas Patriot channel has on it. We try and educate folks on many different things, and this is one of the things we're going to be doing. Before we get started, I want to say that I've already run one test and it failed miserably, but there's a reason for that, and so if my camera person will come over here, we'll be able to show you this. My camera person being my wife. We have 2 bags of wheat here. We have, this is one from one particular feed store in my town, which is MG Feed is the brand, and then we have this Boyce Feed and Grain from a feed store that was from a quarter of a mile just down the road. So these 2 feed stores are really like right next to each other. This feed right here was only getting about a 5 to 10% sprout rate, and so I ran it twice, did different soaking times. I did a 12-hour soak time, I did a 24-hour soak time. Basically this seed is just not sprouting very well, and if you'll look right here, so this half right here is the MG feed, which you can see little bitty sprouts that have started growing on just a couple of them. But if you'll look at this, and she'll get you a close-up of that, you can see the little white dots on almost all of the seeds. It's almost 100% sprout rate. That little white tip that you see on there is what you want to see from a sprouting seed. So when you look back over here, we can see all these seeds right here don't have the white tip. Now I do have a little bit of soil on top of this seed, so you can't see them all, but you can see enough to tell that we did not get a good sprout rate on this seed. So there is a difference, obviously, in the quality of seed that you get. Now, both of these are feed wheat. They're not for human cooking and things like that, restaurants. It's just for planting and for feeding animals. So if you happen to decide to do this test and you get a bag of wheat from your feed store and you follow all the instructions, it's almost guaranteed to sprout unless it's bad seed. So it appears that this seed's not working. Now I am going to do one more test on this seed. I'm actually going to go on a 36-hour soak. I'm going to soak it longer to see if that maybe causes it to germinate. We're just going to have to see. But for now, we know that this other brand of seed that I got a quarter mile down the road is working. So I thought you would want to know that in case you did what we did, gave it a shot, didn't work, didn't want you to give up. So what we have here is a little scale. You don't have to have the scale. The scale was $5 at Walmart. I've got measuring cups. I've got a strainer. I do recommend getting one of these strainers. It makes rinsing the wheat a lot easier. And then I have a bucket that already has water in it, and then we have bleach, and then we've got the tray. Now, I'm not going to talk a lot about the tray. It doesn't matter what you use to grow wheat in. It can be a metal pan, it can be a plastic pan, it could be a regular seed tray. Whatever's flat that you can have drain holes in will work just fine, depending on how much fodder you want to use. This system, this feed tray is set up for 2 pounds of feed. If you want to do less, you can. But about 2 pounds is what it's going to take to get an even coat on this. There's also differences if you look out there on the interweb. You can do soilless wheat fodder, or you can, I've seen them do it where they put a light coat of soil in here. I've actually decided I'm going to do the light coat of soil in the bottom, specifically because the soil does give them nutrients and it's very inexpensive. One of the reasons that we are growing wheat fodder is we should be able to save about 70% of our feed cost on our chickens and rabbits. I'm more specifically interested in my chickens right now, but I should be able to supplement 70% of their feed with this fodder if it works. I've seen it work out on the interweb, but we're going to see if it works here in our little town in Texas. And so what we'll do is we're going to get 2 cups of feed. I'm working one arm. And we're going to measure it. That way, if you don't want to get a a scale, you don't have to. I just like knowing how many pounds of seed do I use to get a particular poundage of fodder. So 1 pound of seed should equate to 5 or 6 pounds of fodder. That's pretty significant. So we're going to start out with 2 pounds. And so 2 cups is about 3/4 of a pound. There we go, 3 cups. 3 cups is 2 pounds of seed, of this wheat seed. Then all we're going to do is take it, put it in the strainer. And I'm going to do just a really good rinse on it. We want to wash the dirt off. Don't be afraid to handle the seeds. You're not going to hurt it. Just do this in the sink and give it a real good washing, just to help get the dirt off. Not a big deal. There's a lot of ways that are out there that you can do this. This is the way that works for me. However you decide to wash your seed is completely up to you. I wouldn't put too much thought into it. Some people don't even wash it until after the first soak. So my seed has corn in it. Sprout a little corn with our wheat. Give it a good washing. Let that drain. Then we're going to put it in our bucket. I've already got water in the bucket over here. And how much water? You just want the water to cover the seeds by about 2 to 3 inches. This seed is going to soak up water, so you want to leave it enough in there. So if you'll look right here, hopefully the lighting's good, you can see we have some stuff floating on top. That's really not like good stuff. Some of the seeds may be good, so I'll come in here with this other smaller strainer and just hit it down. And then whatever remains floating, you can just take it out with this. So I'm not going to do it right now for the sake of time of the video. I don't want to waste your time. I like trying to be efficient with my videos if possible. So this is going to soak for 24 hours. We are going to put a little bleach in here, a 1:10 ratio, so a tablespoon of bleach for a gallon of water works great. And you do that to try and help prevent mold. Doing fodder, you can create mold if the temperature's not right, if the humidity's not right. I don't want you to get too complicated with that. It's just safe to say that this needs to be done in the house here in Texas, okay? Up north, they're able to do things outside because they maintain low humidities and cooler temperatures. So here in Texas, when it's 70 degrees, which is what this grows optimally at, it's also 95% humidity outside, like it is today in December, Christmas Eve, 70 degrees and about 95% humidity. This wouldn't do well in that environment. So this is designed to be done in the house. And so we're going to go ahead and put our bleach in, and just usually I don't even measure a capful, but just, you know, this is about 2 gallons of water, so I'm going to put in 2 capfuls of bleach. Then we'll just give that a stir to make sure that all the water touches all the seed, all the bleach gets mixed in with all the seed. Don't have to be gentle with it, just you're not going to hurt the wheat seed. Just stir it, mix it up, and it smells good. Yeah. Everybody, when you smell bleach, you think you're smelling something clean. Just give that a really good stir so it gets on, and then that has it covered. We're going to let this soak for 24 hours, and then we'll come back and we'll do the rest of the process, and we will do this day by day. Some videos may be shorter than others, and we'll try and combine them all into one video for you. We will see you in 24 hours. All right, 24 hours, just about on the button. We're back. We've been soaking a pound of seeds, I believe it was. And we're going to put a pound of seeds in this tray, and we're going to get it going. But before we do this, I want to go look at our little test from the good seed and the bad seed. And I just want to remind you that if you do this and you aren't successful the first time you do it, it might be the seeds. That definitely wasn't my case. So we'll come over and just take a look at these real quick. So on the left side over here is what I call the good seed, and the right side over here is what I call the not good seed. And if you get real close, if she'll get a close in for you, you can see the sprouts are all in here. They're nice and spread out, and over here you see very sporadic sprouts, and you see a lot of seeds that never sprouted. So that's the difference between a good seed and a bad seed. Alright, and we do keep that covered just for a couple, 2 or 3 days till we start getting some nice green sprouting going on. Then I'll put it out in natural light. Alright, so with all my research that I've done and some folks that do this that I've actually talked to, I'm going to try and eliminate the mold problem. So if you research this out at all, you'll find out that part of the problem of growing fodder is mold. And that's because water, temperature, humidity all play a big part in this. You keep this stuff heavily watered, and with the right temps and the right humidity, you know mold will grow in constant moisture. So we did put bleach in here to help kill the mold spores initially, and from everything that I've been able to find out is you really do eliminate about 90% of the probability of getting mold if you actually put your seeds in soil. Now, this probably isn't the soil I'm going to use long term. It's just what I'm going to use for the test that I'm running here. And for this video, it's just a potting mix that we had from Home Depot or whatever. But I'm going to probably get a organic soil mix. I don't want to spend a lot of money on it because the whole idea of this is to be efficient and save money. But we'll get a soil regardless, and we're going to use the soil. So the first thing I'm going to do is, you can see there's holes in here.
You can see them.
So I drilled all the holes just so that we don't get a bunch of standing water in here, and it'll drain out. And then I'm going to set it in this pan here, which all I did was put some Lego blocks in there, being creative. You could put rocks, wood, it doesn't matter. And we'll set the tray on that, and the excess water will drip down in there. There's not a lot of excess water when you use soil. I've watered that one a couple times now, and when I do empty it out, I get about 1/4 of a cup to 1/2 a cup of water out of it. The rest of it is absorbed in the soil and the seeds. So I'm just going to put the coat down. I'm trying to do all this kind of one-armed. I just had arm surgery Friday. Now I just want about 1/4 of an inch in here all throughout. And on this particular seed tray, I did have to drill the holes. You can buy seed trays that already have holes in it. They didn't have any where I went. Then you just get this nice and spread out. Didn't take very much. I didn't even use 1/4 of the bag, this little bag on that. So the seeds have been soaking for 24 hours. We're going to use our strainer, and we're going to dump our seeds that have been soaking for 24 hours. We're going to give them a good rinse.
Mom, where's my flashlight? Give me double the batteries for this picture.
there, and then we'll just give them a good rinse. You can't rinse them too long. We had washed them earlier, so I'm not so much worried about dirt, but remember we did put a tablespoon of bleach per gallon of water. And the bleach will evaporate, you know, so those that are mindful of those type of things, the bleach will be completely gone. There'll be no residue, no nothing. But I like to give it a good rinsing anyway to give it a head start. Don't be afraid to handle your seeds. Move it around. Not a real big fan of seeds going down my drain. The reason is they might grow in your drain. They might start sprouting in your drain, and then you might end up with some type of a clog, so you might want to just be careful with that. Alright. These don't have to be perfectly drained. Now I could do this one of two ways. I could literally put this back in the bucket and let it start sprouting in the bucket. And then do this rinse, you know, for a couple days. I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to go ahead and put the seeds in the soil now and let them sprout there. And we're going to see how that works for this test. Trying to eliminate steps if at all possible. So we're just going to dump these in here on top of the soil. Alright. And we're just going to spread them out evenly in the tray. Since this is my first time to do this, I hope that I put enough seed in this thing. I think I did, but we're going to find out. And it's okay if the seeds touch each other. As a matter of fact, I want them to touch each other. So don't try and get them spread too thin. This was 1 pound of seeds for this tray, and I don't know the size of this tray. I'll try and get that for y'all in the next segment after we get to the next step. There's a piece of corn. Sometimes I feel like I just need to talk to y'all so you're not bored while I'm doing this. Alright, then I'm just going to give it a light little pat down, kind of pushing it just lightly into the soil. And there we go. Some people put a light coat of soil on top of this, a very light coat. I don't know that I'm going to do that on this test. I think I'm going to go with what I have here, and I want to see what happens. I want to see what happens with the mold. I want to see what happens with the sprouting. I want to see what happens with the fodder if I just put a coat on top of the soil without putting anything on top of the seed. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to drop it in the container. It needs to be, even though the seeds are wet, we need the soil a little bit wet. So I'm going to go ahead and just lightly get that done. Just get it, you know, good and wet. You want the soil soaked through and through. The excess water is going to drain out the bottom, so not a big deal. but initially this potting soil is going to soak up quite a bit of moisture, so you want to get a good douse on it. And then you should be able to, after this, give it a light douse every 12 hours or so. And that's it. And I'm going to cover this. I'm going to keep it in the dark for the sprouting process. And then we will look at it again in 24 hours. See you soon. All right, good morning. We're back. It's been several days. I think it's been about 5 days. Over here on this side, this is the good wheat seed over here that you can see has got a really nice growth. This was the bad seed that just sporadically sprouted. Didn't do very good. This is a whole tray of the good seed right here, and we're on about day 3 or 4. I didn't keep track of the days, but I just wanted to give you an idea what it looks like. This has been in the dark. We keep it covered with a towel, or you can set something over it until it gets to this point. Now we're going to put it over on the new rack that we built, and we're going to put it in the sun, and it will turn green very quickly, just like this did. So I'm very happy with the new seed. This did work. We are doing it in a layer of soil, and so far I haven't seen any mold issues at all. I don't know how this is going to pull out with the bad side. I'd like to go ahead and get disconnected, but just take a look at this root mat right here. That looks really, oh, it's just tearing apart. That's really good right there. It just came off that old nasty seed right there. That is an absolute wheat mat. Now I want to tell you why I'm going to show you why I'm using seed, and if I had a test, why I'm using soil, I'm sorry. If I had a test where I didn't use soil and all I did was use seed, you would see inside of here a lot of wasted seed. And so the reason I went to soil, just a little small, you can just tell that's maybe a ½ inch of soil. Actually, it's probably a ¼ of an inch, because all this white under here is a root mat. Very nice root mat. Is because when you use just seed, you literally are wasting about 60% of your seed. 60% of your seed will not sprout, and it'll just be in there, and you're not getting anything from it. The chickens will eat it. I'm not sure the rabbits will, but the chickens will eat the seed. But the whole point of sprouting is to give them more of what's inside that seed. When you sprout it, the nutrition levels all go up. Protein jumps up to about 18%. So that's why I'm using soil, because I use 40% less seed, maybe even a little bit more than 40%. So, and soil is very cheap, and it doesn't take us, any souped up type of soil. This was just regular old potting soil, no big deal. Anything will work just fine. So we're going to cut this up, and we're going to feed it to the chickens. We're going to put that in the sunlight, and we're going to start reseeding this, and we will see you on the next one. Alright, welcome back to the Patriot channel. We're continuing to talk about fodder a little bit. I want to let everybody know I did find a wheat barley source finally. $9 a bag versus $15 a bag for the wheat fodder, so that's roughly 60% increase in cost. We've done some tests with the barley seed. It seems to want to have a mold issue significantly more than the wheat. I don't know why, other than the seed possibly holds more moisture. I've done 2 tests with it now, and a couple things that I want to bring your attention to. One, I don't think it is economically smart to use barley over wheat. Barley has slightly higher nutritional values, but not enough to justify the cost. The chickens and rabbits will do just fine on the wheat fodder. It's still 16 to 18% protein. So I'm not seeing it. And if you'll look right here, get real close, I'll slide this up here to you. Alright, so this right here is the barley fodder, and this is the wheat fodder, and I have the 2 seeds laying side by side here, and I hope you can see that. But the barley seed is at least 2 times, if not, it's probably 2 times the size of the wheat seed. And so when you're measuring this, I go everything by the pound, and it takes 3 cups of wheat seed to give me a pound of wheat fodder, to give me a pound of seed. 3 cups equals a pound of seed. Well, if I use the same measurement for the barley, I'm actually going to get less seeds in the amount. So I'm having to increase the amount of seeds that I'm using to get the same fullness of growth in my wheat fodder. I have some pictures. I'll try and include them in the video if it'll let me, just so you get an idea of what it looks like. So I'm going to use the rest of this barley. I'm actually going to do a blend. I'm going to try a blend. I haven't done that yet. I've got one right here in this bucket right here. And it's got 1 cup of barley and 2 cups of wheat in it. And I'm going to try and do them together and see if I still have a little mold issue. One of the things that I did do with the barley, just to try and get the mold under control, because it absolutely did grow, was I only watered once a day instead of twice a day. My grandson is, give me just a minute. Alright, this is what happens on the Texas Patriots farm. The little ones grab spaghetti and throw it everywhere. So at any rate, we have this blend going. I watered the wheat fodder only once a day instead of twice a day every 12 hours. I'm going to see how it happens in here. I've got another wheat fodder that barley fodder, that I just put over there. And I'm going to water it once every 30 hours instead of once a day. I'm going to try and extend it out a little bit because I still had a little bit of mold in it on the second test. Yes, I'm using bleach. Yes, the temperature's steady in the house, not a humidity issue. And I don't have that problem at all with wheat. But nonetheless, the point of this is I see no reason, at least here in Texas. Up north, they may be able to get barley for the same price as wheat. I don't know. I had a very difficult time even getting a barley source. And when I did, it was $15 a bag versus my wheat seed, which is $9 a bag. So, and then again, you have to use, to get the same growth, you have to use more barley seeds to get the same thickness of growth. So that's going to even add to the cost. So now we're probably getting closer to a 70% increase in growing fodder. And so I just don't see it. I'm going to use the rest of this. I'm not going to buy no more. Hopefully I can get it to not grow any mold on it. We're just going to keep trying until we see if we can get it right. So I just want to let everybody know that, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.